chosen one. You've got people crashing out over you while you remain calm, untouchable, and divinely protected. You don't even realize how powerful that peace looks on you. 40444 Divine Confirmation. The universe is shifting right now in your favor. The spiritual realm is rearranging itself to match the energy you've been carrying all along. There's a massive unfolding taking place, a divine orchestration that's moving quietly but decisively. It's shaking everything and everyone that once tried to shake you. The vibration you're standing in now is so high, so pure, that it's literally exposing what can't survive near it. The same ones who once tried to disturb your peace are being disturbed by your stillness. The ones who used to laugh when you fell are trembling now because you didn't stay down. They can sense it, that divine presence that walks with you, that invisible armor that shields you from what used to touch you. They expected your downfall. They planned for it. Some even prayed for it. But you didn't react. You didn't fight in the physical, you trusted in the spiritual. You let silence be your strategy and faith be your weapon. You didn't chase validation. You didn't beg to be understood. You didn't try to prove a point because you knew the truth would eventually speak for itself. You stood back and let God move for you. While they were plotting against you, the divine was plotting your promotion. While they whispered about you, angels were preparing to announce you. While they tried to destroy your name, heaven was writing it down in golden ink. You were being positioned in rooms they'll never have access to. You were being given peace they'll never comprehend. You didn't lose your mind when everything fell apart. You didn't crumble when life tested you. You transmuted pain into purpose. You turned betrayal into wisdom. You used silence as strength. That's why you're untouchable now, because your power doesn't come from appearance, noise, or defense. It comes from presence, alignment, and divine authority. You learn that you don't have to clap back when God has already declared the final word. You stopped needing closure from people who couldn't handle your calling. You realized that the same storm meant to break you only revealed what you were made of. Every silent night, every tear, every unanswered question became the soil where your new strength grew. Right now, your stillness is confusing them. They can't process how you can be so calm after everything you've faced. They can't understand how you walk with peace when they're surrounded by chaos. They thought ignoring you would stop you. They thought isolating you would humble you. They thought breaking your spirit would destroy your destiny. But chosen one, they forgot something critical. You are built from divine endurance. You are not powered by validation or attention. You are powered by alignment. You have an energy that doesn't beg to be understood because it simply is. You radiate divine confidence without even trying, and that's why they're losing control. You see, when you truly surrender to divine timing, your whole vibration changes. You stop chasing what's not for you. You stop explaining yourself to people who have already decided not to understand. You stop performing for an audience that was never meant to see your purpose. You stop entertaining conversations that lower your frequency. And when you stop giving your energy away, people panic, because they were feeding off your light without even realizing it. Your absence becomes their confusion. Your silence becomes their mirror. The energy that once flowed freely toward them has now been redirected back to you. And the more you pull away, the more they crash. You're not arrogant for protecting your peace. You're wise. You're not distant for setting boundaries. You're discerning. You're not cold, you're in spiritual quarantine. God has you hidden not because you're forgotten, but because you're about to be revealed in a way that demands protection. You are in a sacred phase of preparation, not punishment. What you think is isolation is actually insulation. Heaven is wrapping you in divine stillness because the next chapter requires precision, not distraction. You're not losing people. You're losing illusions. You're not becoming harder. You're becoming holier. Every version of you that once reacted to pain is gone. What stands now is a refined, grounded, spiritually matured being that doesn't need to announce power because the energy speaks for itself. And that's exactly why certain people can't stand you right now. You're calm, collected, and at peace, and that's unsettling. They were comfortable when you were triggered, when you over-explained, when you doubted yourself. They knew how to manipulate your emotions when your heart was open in the wrong directions. But now, you're emotionally disciplined. You're spiritually guarded. You're moving like someone who has already seen what's coming and knows there's no need to rush. You've become unreadable to those who once thought they had you figured out. You've become unreachable to those who were once feeding on your empathy. And it's driving them crazy, because your peace is something they can't influence anymore. The people who were once loud about your flaws are now quiet about your progress. The ones who celebrated your struggles are now silent witnesses to your elevation. The same ones who tried to bury you are now realizing you were the seed. The same ones who tried to break your name are now forced to respect your growth. Your resilience has become their lesson. Your comeback has become their karma. And they can feel it, even if they never admit it out loud. You're not the same person anymore. The things that used to provoke you now bore you. The people who used to drain you now can't reach you. The patterns that used to hold you hostage have no power in your new frequency. You are a walking embodiment of divine evolution. Chosen one, this calmness you've cultivated is not ordinary. It's divine. It's the kind of peace that comes after surviving storms that should have destroyed you. It's the type of silence that's backed by unseen forces. You didn't just find peace, you became it. You've become the calm in chaos, the eye of the storm, the living example of what happens when someone surrenders everything to divine will. That's why your energy feels heavy to others. It's not negativity, it's authority. You carry the weight of truth, and truth exposes everything false around it. Your presence forces masks to fall off. It makes people uncomfortable because it reveals what's real. Every time you walk into a room, the energy shifts. Conversations pause. Eyes follow. Hearts race. Because something in you commands attention without seeking it. You've become a walking reflection, a mirror that shows others what they're avoiding. That's why jealousy rises. That's why projections happen. That's why gossip tries to circle back around you. They're not reacting to who you are, they're reacting to what your light reveals in them. You show people their unhealed parts just by existing. You remind them of their own potential just by breathing. And for those who aren't ready to heal, your presence feels like confrontation. But don't take it personally. You were chosen for that. You were never meant to fit in, you were meant to awaken. The spiritual warfare you faced wasn't punishment, it was initiation. Every battle refined your discernment. Every betrayal sharpened your intuition. Every rejection redirected you toward your divine assignment. You've been through too much to doubt your purpose now. God didn't carry you through fire just to let you burn out in the ashes. You are the phoenix, reborn, radiant, untouchable. You are the calm that terrifies those who thrive on chaos. You are the silence that exposes every hidden intention. You are the light that reveals the truth even when you say nothing. You're proof that peace is power. And that's why the enemy tried so hard to disturb it. The ones who underestimated you are now learning that you're not to be toyed with. They tried to test your spirit, and now they're being tested by the very energies they invoked. Divine justice doesn't miss. Every seed sown in deceit is returning to its sender. Every attempt to harm your peace has been rerouted into lessons they must now face. Meanwhile, you're flourishing. Quietly. Consistently. Divinely. You've become a symbol of grace under pressure, the kind of energy that can't be duplicated, only divinely granted. Right now, heaven is clapping for your restraint. You didn't curse them back. You didn't retaliate. You didn't expose them when you had the proof. You let silence do the talking, and now your silence is echoing louder than any explanation ever could. Your reward is in the peace that can't be disturbed, in the glow that can't be dimmed, and in the favor that can't be faked. You're walking evidence that divine timing never fails. Chosen one, never forget this. The same energy that's causing people to crash out over you is the same energy that's crowning you in the spirit. Their chaos is confirmation. Their discomfort is proof of your ascension. You've stepped into a vibration that no low frequency can penetrate. Your aura has become a fortress. Your calmness is your crown. And every attack against you only amplified your protection. So keep being still. Keep being peaceful. Keep being the one who doesn't flinch in the storm. Because every time you choose silence over reaction, the universe moves louder on your behalf. Every time you let go, something greater comes in. Every time you trust instead of chase, miracles align. The ones who wanted your reaction will soon have to watch your revelation. They'll witness your elevation and realize that the same stillness they mocked was your secret weapon. Because peace is not passive, it's power. It's the mark of someone who knows they're guided, guarded, and destined. You are that person. You are the calm in the storm. The light in the dark. The walking proof that divine protection is real. So let them crash. Let them gossip. Let them spiral. You stay still, because heaven fights differently. You're already on the winning side, not because you fought harder, but because you trusted deeper. You are untouchable, not because of luck, but because your purpose is too sacred to be derailed. Keep walking in that peace, chosen one. Keep standing in that divine stillness. The world may be shaking, but you are unshakable. And every soul watching you will one day understand what you already know. God handled what you never had to. Some are acting out, and they don't even know why. They're spiraling, snapping, restless, not realizing that the calm they once borrowed from your spirit is gone. The energy they used to sip from your presence, the peace they used to draw from your light, has been cut off. You've been their power source, chosen one. You were their battery. Every time they touched your energy, they felt regulated, stable, seen, and understood. But now that you've pulled back, now that you've unplugged, they're going through a spiritual withdrawal that's rattling their soul. They can't locate the peace they used to steal. They can't find the grounding they used to borrow. They can't access the love they once abused. You became their calm in chaos, and now that you're gone, they're forced to face their own storms without the shelter of your spirit. You cut the cords that drained you, and heaven applauded. You didn't even need to announce it, the universe felt it. The moment you said, "No more," something powerful shifted in the unseen. Spiritual cords snapped. Energetic ties dissolved. The flow of power reversed, and everything that was taking from you without giving started to collapse. That's why the confusion, the arguments, the emotional breakdowns are happening around you, because they're losing access to your frequency. You were the connection to divine order in their life, and when you stepped back, disorder rushed in. Don't let their chaos tempt you back into old cycles. Don't let guilt drag you back into draining environments. God separated you to save you. You've been elevated to a frequency where not everyone can follow, and that's exactly how it's meant to be. You see, chosen one, not everyone was connected to you out of love. Some were attached to your light out of dependency. You thought you were helping, healing, uplifting, and you were, but some souls were only showing up to be refueled, not reformed. They came to drink, not to grow. They came to consume your peace, not to create their own. You became their emotional oxygen, their comfort and dysfunction. And when you decided to heal for real, not half heal, not temporary heal, but truly elevate, you disrupted their supply chain. You broke the cycle of spiritual codependency that kept both of you trapped in lower frequencies. That's why they're uncomfortable now. Your detachment is their detox. And that exhaustion you've been feeling lately? That heavy, almost unexplained fatigue that shows up even when you haven't done much? That's not weakness. That's divine protection. The spiritual body feels what the physical can't explain. You're not unmotivated, you're being redirected. God is saying, "Rest, my child, because I'm fighting battles you don't even see." That heaviness isn't punishment, it's insulation. It's divine sedation, heaven keeping you still so nothing and no one can distract you from your purpose. Every time you try to push yourself when God is asking you to rest, you interfere with divine timing. Every time you try to re-engage with people you've already outgrown, you short-circuit the healing you've been given. That's why you feel that spiritual pull to be alone, that sudden urge to step back from social noise, that divine fatigue that stops you mid-motion. You're not being lazy, you're being shielded. You're in energetic quarantine. Heaven is recharging your spiritual battery, and that requires isolation. You can't charge and drain at the same time. You can't fill yourself while leaking energy into every empty vessel around you. So when your body demands stillness, listen. That's God saying, "Let me do what you can't." The exhaustion is sacred. It's your body's way of saying, "I'm done fighting what's already been won." You're not supposed to be everywhere right now. You're not supposed to be in every conversation, every conflict, every storyline. You've entered a season where energy must be protected like treasure. Every no you say is not rejection, it's redirection. Every time you walk away, you're preserving the frequency that took years to cultivate. You've learned that peace is expensive, and it can't be traded for validation or comfort. You've worked too hard to rebuild your spirit to let anyone drain it casually again. There are people who used to feel powerful when they could pull a reaction from you. They knew how to trigger you. They knew how to guilt you. They knew how to drain your empathy until you were left empty. But now, when they try, you're just still. You don't explain, argue, or engage. You've mastered the art of divine detachment. That's why they're frustrated. That's why they're lashing out. That's why you're seeing sudden hostility from people you once poured love into. It's not personal, it's energetic. They can feel the cord has been cut, and now they're scrambling to find a new source. But you're not their source. You were never meant to be. You were just the messenger, the vessel, the reminder that real healing comes from within, not from draining others. And let's talk about that fatigue one more time, because it's sacred. When you feel tired for no reason, understand that it's because your spirit is doing heavy lifting in the unseen. Every time you let go of a connection that no longer serves your soul, there's an energetic detox that follows. You might feel drained because energy is being pulled out of your field that doesn't belong there anymore. Every release requires rest. Every upgrade requires recovery. You're shedding what was never yours to carry. So don't rush this process. Don't guilt yourself for needing time. The same God who gives you strength also gives you permission to pause. Chosen one, you've always been the healer in the room, the empath who could feel pain that wasn't yours, the light worker who could sense darkness before it arrived. But even healers need healing. Even light workers need rest. Your sensitivity isn't a curse, it's a compass. It tells you when to engage and when to retreat. It tells you who's safe and who's siphoning. So when you feel that sudden wave of tiredness around certain people, believe it. Your body and spirit are warning you before your mind can rationalize it. That exhaustion is your intuition whispering. And as you pull back, as you reclaim your energy, something miraculous begins to happen. Your glow returns. Your clarity sharpens. Your peace deepens. You begin to realize that exhaustion was never about overworking, it was about overgiving. You were tired because you were carrying people, situations, and energies that were never your responsibility. You were showing up for others in ways they never reciprocated. You were healing others while neglecting your own wounds. And now God is saying, it's your turn. Your rest is your reward. Your stillness is your superpower. Your quiet time is your divine upgrade. Those who truly love you will respect your silence. They'll understand your boundaries. But those who are only attached for what they could take will misinterpret your peace as arrogance, your boundaries as rejection, your distance as betrayal. Don't internalize that. Their misunderstanding is not your responsibility. You've graduated from trying to explain your evolution to those committed to misunderstanding it. Your only assignment now is to maintain alignment. To protect your peace like it's sacred currency. Because it is. You've entered a phase of spiritual refinement where God is fine-tuning your frequency. You're being prepared for the next chapter, and preparation always requires pruning. So don't mourn what you're losing, celebrate what's being cleared. Every person who falls away, every plan that no longer fits, every invitation that suddenly feels wrong, that's heaven decluttering your path. The lighter you become, the higher you rise. The heavier your old attachments were, the harder your ascension felt. But you kept going. You honored the call to release. And now your light is expanding in ways even you can't fully perceive yet. Chosen one, rest isn't just recovery, it's revelation. When you're still, divine messages reach you more clearly. When you're quiet, intuition speaks louder. When you stop running, purpose catches up. Oh, you're relearning that not every battle is yours to fight, not every energy is yours to fix, not every cry for help deserves your immediate rescue. Because the truth is, you were never meant to save everyone. You were meant to awaken them. And awakening requires discomfort. Sometimes your absence will teach them more than your presence ever could. So honor the season. When tiredness comes, let it. When peace calls, answer it. When people fall away, bless them. You're not meant to chase what's fading, you're meant to flow where you're led. You've given enough. You've carried enough. Now it's time to receive, to rest, to realign. Your energy is sacred ground. Treat it like the temple it is. And remember this, those who are truly aligned with your spirit will never drain you, they'll recharge you. They won't pull from your light, they'll protect it. You are being reborn through rest. The exhaustion you feel now will soon turn into power. The emptiness will soon transform into overflow. Because when you stop leaking energy into what doesn't serve you, abundance naturally fills the space. The more you rest, the clearer your guidance becomes. The quieter you get, the louder God speaks. So stop doubting what feels like stillness, it's strategy. Heaven doesn't rush. Divine timing never hurries. Every pause is preparation. Every delay is divine design. So breathe, chosen one. Let go. Rest without guilt. Protect your peace without apology. Those who truly carry love will understand your stillness. And those who don't, they were never meant to. Your exhaustion was never your weakness. It was your signal. God slowed you down because you were too available to those who didn't value your energy. Now, every boundary you keep is a blessing you preserve. And as you pull back, as you reclaim your energy, something miraculous begins to happen. Your glow returns. Your clarity sharpens. Your peace deepens. You begin to realize that exhaustion was never about overworking, it was about overgiving. You were tired because you were carrying people, situations, and energies that were never your responsibility. You were showing up for others in ways they never reciprocated. You were healing others while neglecting your own wounds. And now God is saying, it's your turn. Your rest is your reward. Your stillness is your superpower. Your quiet time is your divine upgrade. Those who truly love you will respect your silence. They'll understand your boundaries. But those who are only attached for what they could take will misinterpret your peace as arrogance, your boundaries as rejection, your distance as betrayal. Don't internalize that. Their misunderstanding is not your responsibility. You've graduated from trying to explain your evolution to those committed to misunderstanding it. Your only assignment now is to maintain alignment. To protect your peace like it's sacred currency. Because it is. You've entered a phase of spiritual refinement where God is fine-tuning your frequency. You're being prepared for the next chapter, and preparation always requires pruning. So don't mourn what you're losing, celebrate what's being cleared. Every person who falls away, every plan that no longer fits, every invitation that suddenly feels wrong, that's heaven decluttering your path. The lighter you become, the higher you rise. The heavier your old attachments were, the harder your ascension felt. But you kept going. You honored the call to release. And now your light is expanding in ways even you can't fully perceive yet. Chosen one, rest isn't just recovery, it's revelation. When you're still, divine messages reach you more clearly. When you're quiet, intuition speaks louder. When you stop running, purpose catches up. And you elevated. Everything that was built on falsehood began to crumble. The energy you once endured is now returning to sender, magnified by divine law. Because the universe always restores balance. Always. While you're transforming, they're trembling. You've stepped into a frequency where peace is your weapon and silence is your strength. You no longer chase closure, you are the closure. You no longer seek validation, your existence is proof enough. You've learned that what's taken from you unjustly always returns tenfold when you stay aligned. That's why you don't need to fight. Your elevation is your evidence. Your transformation is the testimony. What they don't understand is this: your suffering was sacred. Every rejection was redirection. Every betrayal was purification. Every delay was divine timing. The pain they caused didn't break you, it refined you. It burned away illusions, forced you into truth, and anchored your faith in something unshakable. You are not cursed, you're cleansing. The heaviness that once felt like punishment was actually purification. God was washing your spirit clean of attachments that couldn't survive where you were going. And yes, it's uncomfortable. Growth always is. When divine order steps in, everything false must fall away. Relationships dissolve. Comfort zones collapse. Familiar places suddenly feel foreign. But you're not losing, you're leveling up. What's leaving your life isn't a loss, it's a clearing. It's the divine exchange. You release density so you can carry destiny. You let go of illusions so truth can take root. Do you feel that shift? The silence before something divine erupts? That's not emptiness, that's preparation. Heaven is rearranging your life from the inside out. People who wronged you are being confronted by their own energy. Not because you cursed them, but because truth is self-correcting. Energy doesn't lie. And the same vibration they send out in malice is returning in reflection. That's why the guilt is rising, why the fear is spreading, not from you, but from within them. Because deep down they know. They know they touched something sacred and called it weakness. They know they played games with destiny and mistook divine patience for absence. You didn't have to retaliate. Your silence spoke volumes. The moment you chose peace over revenge, heaven took over. The moment you said, "I release them," God said, "Now I'll handle them." That's why you've been feeling lighter lately. The karmic weight isn't yours anymore. You're being restored. You're being rebalanced. Remember, chosen one, divine justice doesn't destroy for pleasure, it restores for purpose. It doesn't punish, it teaches. And sometimes the lesson is for them, but the blessing is for you. They're learning the cost of mishandling purity. You're learning the reward of staying pure when you could have turned bitter. That's why heaven trusts you with so much, because you chose light when you had every reason to choose revenge. The guilt they're feeling now isn't random, it's the soul's alarm clock. The fear creeping into their mind isn't paranoia, it's awareness. They're waking up to the truth that energy never dies. It only travels, transfers, and transforms. The darkness they send now finds no home except the one it came from. They're learning that every word carries frequency, and every act carries consequence. You were never the villain in their story, you were the mirror. You revealed what was unhealed. You exposed the shadow without trying. And when you walked away, that mirror stayed behind. But don't gloat. Don't mock. Don't wish harm. The moment you celebrate another's karma, you lower your vibration. Your elevation requires grace. Let God's balance unfold without interference. Your assignment isn't to witness their fall, it's to walk your rise. Keep your focus forward. Keep your heart clean. Keep your spirit humble. Because your transformation is not just about you, it's about everyone connected to you. When you rise, your lineage rises. When you heal, your bloodline heals. When you refuse to repeat generational cycles of retaliation, gossip, or hatred, you rewrite destiny for everyone who comes after you. That's why the attacks were so heavy. That's why the warfare was so personal. Because your evolution is a revolution in the spirit. You are ending patterns that existed for centuries, and that doesn't go unnoticed in the spiritual realm. While others are trembling, you're transcending. While they're bound by fear, you're moving by faith. You're no longer reacting, you're receiving. You're no longer fighting for recognition, you're walking in revelation. You've stepped into divine neutrality, that holy balance where nothing external can shake your internal peace. That's when you know the scales have turned in your favor. And look closely, your blessings are beginning to unfold quietly. Opportunities that once eluded you are aligning with ease. Doors that were sealed are unlocking without effort. People are being positioned to help you without knowing why. That's divine compensation. Every time they tried to block you, they actually redirected you into greater purpose. Every delay was a detour toward destiny. You are living proof that no curse can override a calling. What was meant to destroy you became your initiation. What was meant to break you built you. What was meant to humiliate you humbled you. And humility is divine armor. That's why nothing can touch you now. You've become spiritually bulletproof. They called it karma, but for you, it's cleansing. The universe isn't punishing you, it's promoting you. It's stripping away everything that can't survive your next level. The loneliness, the silence, the uncertainty, that's not loss, that's preparation. You're being fine-tuned to operate in divine power without ego. To stand in your truth without defense. To love without fear. And as you do, you'll notice how the fear in others intensifies. They'll project, gossip, and deflect, not because you did anything wrong, but because your light exposes their darkness. Your presence activates their conscience. You remind them of what they could have been if they'd chosen love over control, integrity over deceit, humility over pride. But don't internalize their projections. You're not the cause of their chaos. You're just a mirror reflecting what's already inside. This is divine irony at its highest. The same ones who tried to shake your foundation are now shaken by your elevation. The same ones who laughed at your silence are now haunted by their own. You didn't have to prove anything. You just had to keep becoming. And as you did, the truth revealed itself naturally. So stand tall. Stay calm. You don't have to announce your comeback. Your energy already did. The scales are balanced. The storm has passed. The truth has spoken. You are walking in divine alignment now. Everything meant for you will find you. Everything meant against you will fall away. You are in your era of restoration, not because you fought harder, but because you surrendered deeper. You trusted God when it didn't make sense. You stayed kind when cruelty surrounded you. You chose light when darkness begged for your attention. And that's why heaven favors you. That's why you're protected. That's why no weapon, no rumor, no betrayal, no lie, could prosper. Because you were never cursed, chosen one. You were cleansed. You were never losing. You were leveling up. And now, the world is about to see what divine justice really looks like, not through destruction, but through your becoming. Your peace is their lesson. Your rise is your revenge. And your transformation? That's heaven's final word. You've stopped giving time to distractions. You've stopped explaining yourself. You've stopped fighting battles that no longer belong to you. You've finally realized that not every conflict deserves your energy, not every opinion deserves your response, and not every connection deserves access to your spirit. This is what evolution feels like: quiet, intentional, powerful. For so long, you were pulled into chaos that wasn't yours. You were made to believe that defending yourself was survival. You tried to explain your light to people who were committed to misunderstanding it. You tried to prove your worth to people who only valued what they could take from you. But something in you shifted, that divine moment when you realized peace is more powerful than participation. Silence became your sanctuary. Stillness became your strength. Now your detachment confuses them. They don't know how to interpret your calm. They mistake your stillness for weakness and your silence for surrender. But what they fail to see is that you've graduated from the old version of yourself, the one who needed to be understood, the one who sought validation, the one who would argue just to be seen. That version of you is gone. You no longer crave to be recognized. You're content being realized. You don't chase acknowledgement anymore because your alignment is your acknowledgement. You've entered a season where peace is the new proof. You don't need to defend what's divinely protected. You don't need to explain what's already written. When you stopped giving time to distractions, your focus became sacred. Every minute spent in stillness became a seed for your next season. Every no you spoke in clarity became a doorway to divine timing. They think you're hiding, chosen one. But you're healing. They think you disappeared, but you're just restructuring. You're in the sacred phase of your evolution, the cocoon stage. Nothing looks like it's happening on the outside, but transformation is unfolding on the inside. Every cell, every thought, every piece of your spirit is being reassembled. You're shedding the old, unlearning survival patterns, and stepping into mastery. This is the stage where the divine quiets your environment so you can finally hear your own soul. The noise stops. The invitations stop. The distractions lose their pull. Even people begin to distance themselves, not because you've changed in the wrong way, but because your vibration has risen too high for what once matched you. Don't mourn that. Don't chase what's fading. It's not rejection, it's redirection. The pruning always comes before the blooming. You're not running away, you're rebuilding foundations. You've stopped explaining yourself to those who don't listen, and started listening to the one who always understood you. You've stopped trying to make things happen by force, and started allowing them to unfold by faith. You've realized that divine timing doesn't need your anxiety, it only needs your alignment. And this newfound silence of yours? It's sacred warfare. You've learned that you don't have to fight back to win. You don't have to argue to be right. You don't have to shout to be heard. You win now by withdrawing. You win by conserving your energy. You win by focusing on your purpose instead of their perception. Every time you choose peace over participation, the universe rearranges itself in your favor. Every time you walk away instead of reacting, you ascend. Every time you sit with yourself instead of chasing distraction, you receive revelation. You're operating at a level where your very presence carries the vibration of clarity. That's why some people can't be around you anymore. Not because they hate you, but because your energy exposes their confusion. This isolation, though it feels lonely at times, is actually divine incubation. It's the spiritual equivalent of construction behind closed doors. God is building something within you that requires silence, privacy, and distance. You're not missing, you're mastering. You're mastering your emotions. You're mastering your energy. You're mastering the art of being unbothered in a world addicted to chaos. You're learning that mastery isn't about control, it's about surrender. It's about choosing where your energy flows and refusing to water weeds with your attention. It's about protecting your peace like sacred currency. You no longer trade it for the cheap thrill of being right. You no longer spend it proving a point. You've matured past that. And that maturity? It's magnetic. People sense it even before you speak. Your energy enters the room before your words do. It carries the frequency of someone who has survived storms but now chooses sunshine. You're no longer moved by noise because you've become one with silence. You're no longer shaken by rejection because you understand it's just protection in disguise. You used to chase answers from others. Now you get revelation from within. You used to fight for attention. Now you attract alignment. You used to explain your heart to those who couldn't hear you. Now you communicate directly with God. You've become fluent in the language of faith, quiet trust, steady progress, divine patience. You've stopped fighting battles that no longer belong to you. That's not giving up, that's wisdom. You've realized that some wars were designed to drain you, not define you. Some arguments were traps in disguise, meant to distract you from your divine assignment. And the moment you stepped back, everything that wasn't for you began to crumble. Because your absence exposes what your presence used to sustain. They think you're hiding, but really, you're refining. You're polishing the parts of yourself that once felt fragmented. You're learning to sit in your solitude without feeling lonely. You're learning that peace isn't a reward, it's a responsibility. You protect it daily, not because you're afraid to lose it, but because you finally understand its value. This version of you doesn't over-explain. You speak once, clearly, and let silence follow. You no longer debate with those who listen to reply. You no longer bleed your truth into ears that were never meant to hold it. You no longer force yourself into rooms that can't hold your frequency. That's power, the kind that doesn't need to announce itself. And yet, in your silence, your energy has become louder than ever. People can feel your distance. They sense your absence like gravity. Some are uncomfortable, others are inspired. But none can ignore it. Because your retreat isn't weakness, it's recalibration. You're pulling your energy back so it can return multiplied. You're collecting your light so it can be released in purpose, not wasted in distraction. You are healing, yes, but healing doesn't mean inactivity. Healing is holy construction. It's pruning, building, reinforcing. You're strengthening boundaries. You're reprogramming your beliefs. You're dismantling false identities. You're aligning with your higher self so deeply that when you reemerge, you won't fit into the spaces that once confined you. That's why the divine hid you. Not as punishment, but as preparation. The world isn't ready for the version of you that's being born in this silence. This is where prophets are forged, leaders are molded, warriors are refined. The quiet is your classroom. The stillness is your strategy. They think you're running away from the world, but really, you're running back to yourself. You're reclaiming your energy from every place it was scattered. You're retrieving your power from every person who once drained it. You're pulling your soul out of survival mode and placing it into creation mode. That's not retreat, That's resurrection. And soon, when you return, you'll carry a calm that commands respect without demanding it. You'll speak less but say more. You'll move slower but manifest faster. Because when you've mastered peace, everything moves through you instead of against you. You'll no longer chase. Everything meant for you will find you. Understand this. Mastery is not about perfection, it's about awareness. It's knowing when to engage and when to withdraw. When to speak and when to stay silent. When to build and when to rest. You've reached a spiritual maturity where reaction has been replaced by discernment. That's why your old circles don't fit anymore. They operate on chaos. You operate on clarity. So yes, they'll whisper. They'll wonder where you went. They'll mistake your privacy for weakness and your quiet for confusion. Let them. You owe no explanations to those who contributed to your exhaustion. Your silence is your sanctuary. Your peace is your prize. Because you've finally understood, not everything requires your energy. Not everyone deserves your access. And not every battle needs your sword, some only need your silence. You are not missing. You are mastering. You are not lost. You are aligning. You are not avoiding life. You are preparing to live it with divine intention. So stay in your cocoon, chosen one. Let the noise fade, let the world misinterpret you. When the time is right, you'll emerge, radiant, restored, and renewed. And when you do, even those who doubted you will see that your silence was never weakness. It was strategy. You've stopped giving time to distractions because your destiny requires devotion. You've stopped explaining yourself because truth doesn't argue, it simply stands. You've stopped fighting because you've already won. You're not hiding. You're healing. You're not running. You're rebuilding. You're not missing. You're mastering. And soon, the world will understand that your quiet season wasn't your ending. It was your becoming. A karmic season is here. The same mouths that once spoke against you are now whispering in fear. The same hands that tried to pull you down are trembling, uncertain of what's coming next. You can feel it in the air, a divine shift, a reversal, a balancing of energy that no one can outrun. The universe has been quietly taking notes, and every seed, both pure and poisonous, is now being harvested. This is the season where truth reveals itself without your involvement, where everything said in the dark begins echoing in daylight. You've entered a spiritual moment where silence becomes thunder, where the absence of your reaction becomes the most powerful statement ever made. Because your silence spoke louder than their lies. It's not that you didn't notice what was said, or didn't feel the betrayal. You just chose not to bow to the same energy that tried to break you. You understood that divine justice doesn't require public defense. God was listening when you were quiet, watching when you were misunderstood, recording when you were wrong. And now, heaven is answering on your behalf. They're whispering now, not in mockery, but in fear. Not out of confidence, but confusion. Because the very peace they tried to disturb has become your protection. The stillness that was mocked as passivity has turned into a shield they can't penetrate. Your silence became the courtroom where divine verdicts were written. And your elevation? It became the evidence that divine justice is real. When you rise, chosen one, it exposes everything that tried to hold you down. Your progress shines a light on the lies that were told. Your success reveals the manipulation behind your name. Your glow exposes the shadows that plotted in secrecy. That's why so much fear exists now. because your growth has become the revelation. You didn't have to prove anyone wrong. You just had to keep going, and truth started speaking for itself. There's a shift happening in the spirit, one you might not see with your eyes, but you can feel in your bones. Energy is being rerouted. The same people who used your name carelessly now can't say it without shaking. The same ones who thought they were covered by deception are being uncovered by divine exposure. You see, divine justice doesn't always look like public revenge. Sometimes it looks like silence that echoes. Sometimes it looks like peace that no one can touch. Sometimes it looks like God allowing your enemies to watch you thrive in areas they said you'd fail. You've reached a level of peace that they can't comprehend. They thought your stillness was surrender, but it was strategy. They thought your calm was weakness, but it was wisdom. You understood something most people never will, that the loudest victories are often silent. You didn't need to clap back. You didn't need to seek validation. You just let alignment speak. You trusted the divine timing that moves slower than revenge but hits harder than any plan man could design. Now, their fear isn't rooted in what you'll do, it's rooted in what's already been done. Because they can feel it. They can sense that the energy they projected is circling back home. The same way intentions were released into the universe, the same way they return. That's the law. Not human law, but spiritual law. It doesn't skip a name. It doesn't lose an address. The vibration you release is the one that returns. And for some, that realization has arrived too late. This karmic season is sacred because it's not about punishment, it's about purification. It's about restoring balance where chaos tried to dominate. You've been refined through pain, elevated through patience, and strengthened through silence. You became the vessel that held divine truth even when no one believed you. And now, heaven is balancing the scales in your favor. You might be wondering why you're suddenly remembering old wounds or feeling a deep stillness within. It's because karma isn't just being served around you, it's being released from you. You're shedding energetic weight that isn't yours anymore. You're releasing guilt that never belonged to you. You're stepping into a phase where your peace no longer has to coexist with pain. You've become the proof that divine justice moves differently. While they plotted, you prayed. While they gossiped, you grew. While they tried to bury you, you were taking root. You were the seed that turned silence into strength. The one underestimated, overlooked, and dismissed, yet you bloomed in the very soil meant to suffocate you. That's what happens when God's hand is on your life. No lie can bury truth that was ordained. And now, look at the shift. The same conversations that once mocked your name are now filled with awe. The same people who questioned your worth are now studying your resilience. They can't explain your glow, your peace, or your protection. They can't figure out how everything they tried to destroy turned into fuel for your transformation. They thought your ending had arrived, but God was just beginning. Understand this. Divine justice isn't just about karma returning, it's about alignment being restored. Every delay, every heartbreak, every betrayal became a stepping stone toward your elevation.